All right, we're continuing right now. We're Geekcaster here live at Fanfaire. We're here with Davion Bussey and
Lou Acosta, host of What a Time to Be Alive.
What a Time to Be Alive.
The Geek Culture Podcast.
That's right. Now, yeah, I think that's one of Keanu's best work. I mean, you saw him laugh, get along. It was believable.
Yeah.
You didn't, he was so relaxed in the film as far as just owning the script.
Yeah.
Rather than just trying to create moments, and the pause and the...
You know what it is too, Michael? Is that he was playing a real guy. He wasn't one of these over-the-top characters like John Wick or Neo or somebody like that. He was like every man, and immediately you put yourself in that situation. You're like, that is a bad situation to be in. And learn. Learn from
and
this.
when he broke down...
Yeah.
Arguably, I've never seen him act like that before. Where you're just like, yo, this man has chops. Don't sleep on him.
Yeah, he's more than just a blockbuster.
But now when you go back, when's the last time you felt that loose and comfortable with him and just kind of riding with the script? Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted. Yeah. Sweet. Is he Ted or is he Bill? Oh my God. I think he's Ted Theodore Logan, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
he's Ted. Sweet Ted. Yeah.
Yes.
Again, that goes back to I think I saw the first one when I was in high school here, and it was a big, yeah, I know, right? It's the oil of Olay. I know you how does he go back that far? But I do.
Tell people about the school.
Yeah. Art and design?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the building that we're in right now is not the original building. It used to be around the corner on 57th Street, but Art and design, when I went at the time, was one of the top art high schools in the country, with alumni like Calvin Klein has gone here, amongst many others. As I mentioned earlier, when I was growing up and I got my chance to go here, saw it as my way out. It was like I knew the opportunity that I had. And it's great because a lot of my neighborhood friends who went to, regular public high schools, we had it good. We had it good going here because the curriculum was a lot different. Yes, you had your base academics, but by the time you got to senior year, you had 4 periods of your major. So if you were doing cartooning, you had 4 periods of that. Your day was balanced around that. An English class related to that major and couple of base academics, but you were trained and mentored by, world-class artists. And it changed my life, and it's stuff that I took with me. And just seeing this event here 30-something years later, I mean, going back in time, we could not have foreseen something like this. And my understanding is that this is from the student body. And, not only to have that creativity, but to have that event planning acumen is really impressive. Yeah.
That's cool. And today's event is not just about coming together and having their own independent comic book convention or arts convention. It's about raising money for the students, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I believe it's a fundraiser.
Wow. Now, this goes for what? More programs or?
I wish I could answer that. I'm not on the Alumni Association, even though I am an alumni. I'm wearing my pins.
Oh, nice.
That's an original right there.
Cool.
That's a class of 89 original. Yeah. This guy right here. Class of 89 original, alumni pin.
Oh, no.
Boom, boom, boom.
Let's get you. Wow. There you go. That's cool.
So I believe it does go towards the school. It gets filtered back into the school, the curriculum, and the students. It is a fundraiser. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if it goes to any other outside, not schools, but programs or things like that. I have no idea.
Now, why do you do a podcast? And is that what you do full time? Are you also an artist as well still?
Well, I actually work in broadcast.
Okay.
I have a 25-year career in post-production.
Wow.
Primarily as a video editor and producer.
Oh, wow.
So I have worked with quite a few companies that I'm not at the liberty to mention, but
censor it.
No, that's fine. I didn't drop any names, but again, the American dream is that I studied that here at Art and Design, and when it came time to me to pursue something, well, I chose my career. It didn't choose me, and it's humbling. I'm so fortunate. I mean, I grew up a poor kid, literally poor, on the Lower East Side, and I'm not loaded by any means, but it's I've built a life out of it. I raised my family on it, and I'm a creative, and as a creative, I get to creatively be challenged by raising my bar every day. And art and design had a lot to do with that, honing my skills to get me into that area.
Okay. And I would say, what do you see that's happening now in the school that you wish could happen when you were in high school?
I'm sitting in the middle of it. Fanfaire, an organized con for the school. I think it's absolutely dynamite. And of course, the upgraded facilities, albeit that like the school I was at was very nice, but I mean, 30 something years later, I mean, I've had a tour of the building. It's unbelievable. But you know what? I had a great time. I seized it. I knew who I was being trained by. Everybody got along. It was an amazing atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And my daughter, who's a high school student now, she envies my upbringing because I grew up in the 80s and I went to art school, and I said, watch The Breakfast Club because that's what art and design was back then.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Besides all that, did you see this trailer with Chris Rock?
Yes, Spiral.
Yes.
Didn't see that coming. Wow.
A lot of people did not expect that trailer to be that good.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to be like the last Saw, which was Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Which to me was a horrible movie.
It wasn't my favorite.
It wasn't my favorite either.
Yeah.
It was, to me, I was like, I wasted how much money on this one?
Well,
and it was like, I guess because the anticipation, you was like, okay, this is a Saw film, I'm going to see it. And then you was shut down. But then when you see this one, it's like, I can believe Chris Rock as a serious actor in a serious role.
I gotta say, first of all, it's about time because I love Chris Rock as talented as a comedian. I mean, he's so irreverent. His film career, albeit he's gotten into a lot of films, they've never really hit. And I like to see a comedian take a dramatic turn. And he was as believable in that trailer as Danny Glover is in the Lethal Weapon saga.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
That gritty, veteran who's seen a lot and been around a lot. And it's got Sam Jackson, too. It's a double threat. And it's an expansion on the Saw mythos. Not Jigsaw, per se, but that mythos.
Yeah.
So,
And he is he is the executive producer.
Chris Rock?
I believe so,
I
yeah.
did not know that.
Which is a smart move. Actually, I think there's a lot of comedians out there that was McCarthy, Jenny McCarthy.
Yes.
She's I think she's better as a dramatic actress than a comedian. Hey, wait. Is it Jenny?
Is it Jenny or Melissa McCarthy?
Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa. Yeah. Okay.
Right. She did
Wait,
Happy Times Murders.
Bridesmaids.
Right? No.
Yeah, and Happy Time Murders.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about the
it's
same person.
Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy.
I think she's one of the greatest actresses.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem. I think there's a lot of comedians that are really great actors and actresses. They're funny. So for instance, Chris Rock, live, I would love. He's hilarious.
Dynamite, man.
But I don't think people can write for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where okay, I'm trying to make him funny.
Well, the thing is,
not so much.
And all that stuff is usually so sanitized and not in line with
their vibe of funny.
His vibe of funny. Yeah.
Right.
Everybody's trying to make the next Coming to America, and you just can't.
You just can't do it. That is what that is.
Yeah.
And also with Melissa McCarthy, it's like when she did those series roles, it's like, okay, this is where you need to stay. But when I saw her in Ghostbusters and certain other Happy Time Murders and these other comedic films, as it was one with her in a car, Identity Theft. I didn't see it as funny. It felt like she was a comedian that basically likes to hurt themselves to be funny, or a little bit of fat jokes here and there. But it's like you could do more than just that. Find your identity, and I think serious roles fit her.
Yeah, again, I think all too often they put these very talented comedians into these, what I call factory format comedies.
These little boxes.
These boxes where they pair them up with somebody like like when they did Chris Farley and David Spade for Tommy Boy, which was
Right.
actually really funny.
Right.
But everybody tries to recapture that magic, and it doesn't always hit. And especially in the case of Chris Rock, like I don't think the only movie I thought he ever did was relevant was Good Hair, and that was a documentary.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Oh wait, and New Jack City.
he's done, but
that
he's
scared-
done
that scared the
other
crap out of me.
roles that have been serious. It hasn't blown up, so people don't talk about it. He's done foreign films. He's done. I think this movie is gonna open the door for people to go and be like, "Wow, he really is a good actor," and we just didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but I think it also comes down to like producing, is like getting him
Right.
into the right thing. And plus like
Right.
audiences.
The right fit.
Yeah, the right fit.
And the right writers.
And times change. Audiences are more savvy now. We're more open to foreign films and films like Parasite and things like that are, up for Academy Awards. So I think it's a good time to be on that playing field for like any actor, creative comedian, and to take that dramatic turn.
And he's from Brooklyn.
And he's from Brooklyn.
Shout out to BK.
Are you from Brooklyn?
Yeah.
I'm from Manhattan. Love Brooklyn, though. Old school New York, baby.
For the record, I'm from Jersey.
Where are you from?
Jersey.
See, now I live in Jersey, but I'm from New York. As a matter of fact, when I sign off on my podcast, I always say thanks for putting up with my crappy New York accent,
Nice.
which comes out every once in a while.
You know, it's interesting. Everybody I know that's from New York that lives in New Jersey definitely go out of their way to let you know that they're from New York. They just live in Jersey.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love New Jersey. I love where I live, but I mean, there's something about being from New York, especially from a certain time in New York.
And I'm going to also add this to it because ever since I hung out with this guy, been on his podcast.
guy?
Yeah,
Michael?
this guy. Yeah, this guy. It's like I always went to New York, but I never had the mentality like, okay, I know certain places. I'm from Jersey. He opened the eyes for me when it came to dealing with people from New York. And it's like New York is more open-minded. Y'all deliver a lot of open-minded people.
Absolutely.
And once I started realizing that, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this is the place to be at. And the place to stay at or visit,
Well, no, yeah, it is the
that
place.
right? The place to stay.
It is the place to be. I mean, it's the mecca for everything. And yeah, it is more open-minded than the stigma it gets that New Yorkers are rough and tough and like,
Right.
no, they're the friendliest people I know.
Random Batman was created in the Bronx.
Get out of here, really? Who's that? Gil Kane? Was that Gil Kane who did Batman?
Bob Kane.
Bob Kane. Oh my God,
And
that was a test for you, and you passed.
But
I didn't.
also, think about it. All the top superheroes, besides Mr. Superman that was created in Iowa, but his whole world is a fantasy world of New York. Metropolis is New York. Gotham City is New York.
Well, the classic comparison: Marvel or DC?
Yeah.
I know what mine is.
Which one?
I'm a Marvel guy.
Okay.
I mean, I don't hate DC,
Okay.
but
So Peter Parker's from,
he's from Forest Hills, Queens.
and where Captain America's from.
They say he's from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I'm going to burst that bubble right now.
What?
Comic origin is that Steve Rogers is from the Lower East Side. Look it up.
He's from the lower.
That was retconned for the movie.
interesting.
Yeah.
Did
But I'll throw him the Brooklyn bone. Yeah, they had the statue. They had the statue in Brooklyn. I never got to see it because I'm not in Brooklyn. So, yes, Steve Rogers is a New Yorker.
He's a New Yorker.
Doctor Strange, New York. Spider-Man, New York. Fantastic Four, New York. Mm-hmm. X-Men, upstate New York, but New York.
That's right. That's right. Upstate.
The Avengers, New York.
New York.
Yeah, that's in the movie.
Which one?
They're in Hudson County, I think. They're like, yeah. But whatever.
From New York.
They were New York. Tony Stark, New York. Come on, Stark Tower's in New York, right? So yeah, but that's the thing with Marvel is that, like, for me
Right.
as a kid, there was a lot to grab onto. Like, and nothing against DC at all, but like things like Metropolis and Gotham City, where I felt like the prototypes were of New York and Chicago, and I just couldn't grab onto that. It seemed like a fairy tale. Seeing Spider-Man swinging around, like, reading the comics, seeing him swing around Times Square, like, oh, I've been there. And then Peter Parker goes back to Aunt May in Forest Hills, Queens. And I lived in Queens for a long time, so it was
Wow,
pretty
yeah.
cool. It was super, super relatable.
And it's interesting because people always dreamed of going to the big city. So if you're from New York, you embraced it on another level. If you weren't and you were from a small town, you always dreamed of going to the big city. And even when they say the big city, you're talking about New York.
Manhattan.
Yep.
I mean,
Manhattan. New York, yeah. NYC.
Although Brooklyn is the new Manhattan, am I right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And again, that's why a lot of us New Yorkers actually move across the Hudson River because it's just so unaffordable here, man.
Yeah.
I love you, New York, but you don't love me.
I'll tell you one thing. If I do go in the future to Queens, I like Jersey City.
Queens?
No,
or Jersey?
Jersey City.
Jersey City's in Jersey. So wait,
Yeah.
oh, so you're saying if you go to Jersey, you're going
Jersey, yeah.
Yeah, Jersey City's hot, man.
It looks like Brooklyn.
Pretty much. And it's any waterfront city community looks Long Island City and Queens, like Jersey City in New Jersey. They're all kind of the same.
Okay. So, trying to think of anything else to say. Do you want to do a closure? Oh, we got tons of time? Oh, wow.
We got 15 minutes.
Ice cream. All right, so we should do something where it comes to anime. Do you watch anime?
Not in the way that it's known right now. I mean, when I was a kid,
Explain
it was when I was a kid, it was known as purely known as Japanese animation. So coming up, when cable wasn't big, you had like network channels, but you had something called UHF that were like, Telemundo and Spanish channels, and every once in a while you click through and you'd see Speed Racer, and that was my first introduction to like, Japanese anime, and then there was also G-Force, which is known in Japan as Gatchaman. Hit me.
I'm hitting you. They're doing a G-Force film, a live-action film. It's happening.
Here in the States or in Japan?
Here. Oh, I believe here.
Ooh.
I believe here. You know what? I'm not too sure, but it is happening. And now I don't know if they're gonna call it G-Force or Gatchaman.
Okay.
Because they could
or
go
Battle of the Planets.
But actually, no. I think the title will be Battle of the Planets.
Okay. That was the American adaptation of
Yeah.
it, but I mean, that's
huge.
That was such a saga growing up. When I hear about something like that, the first thing I think of is like, let the Russo brothers direct it, because I just think those guys hit the ball out of the park with every single thing they do, including 21 Bridges with Chadwick Boseman, which was
I haven't seen
I
that
saw
yet.
it, and I thought it was great. Big New York film, guys. 21 Bridges. I, for one, did not know we had 21 Bridges here, but now you know.
Speaking about the Russo brothers, and you're right, these guys are phenomenal producers, directors, and how they establish good quality adaptations of comic book films. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think whatever they put their hands on, they're going to make it gold. And I think what they need to do is start putting their hands on certain other films. Like, definitely Power Rangers they need to put their hands on.
It would be a totally... If they did do that, which would be interesting, because it's so soft, they would have to totally go dark. They'd have to totally go a different direction.
Yeah.
Which, because so many people grew up with that, I think would be great.
But it would work.
It's possible. I think it's possible. You know what? There's so many older properties that kind of gave birth to Power Rangers. There's no reason to do it.
But they're already doing another Power Rangers after 3 years or 2 years of the other one.
But well, also a lot of times with these different properties, it becomes a legal thing too. They keep coming up because they have to keep the copyright and keep things going.
It's the story of Spider-Man.
Right.
Same thing.
So they'll keep putting it out because they have to.
Or they lose the rights. They lose the film rights to it. Yeah.
Because you got GoBots, you got Transformers. Even though GoBots came out before Transformers.
You're right about that.
I mean, Gatchaman with G-Force. G-Force is the same concept.
Hit me with a Voltron, please.
Yeah.
Give me a Voltron film.
Yeah. I mean,
Lions, not the other one.
Yeah, the Lions. Yeah. I didn't know.
There were two different Voltrons.
Thank you for bringing that up. A lot of people forget. I couldn't stand the one with the cars.
There was like 21 cars or something like that. It was like, I guess it made for a great toy, but it was like a little too much. I couldn't get all the characters right because each one of them has to have like a pilot or a driver, right? And
Right.
That's a little too much for a kid to take in.
Since we brought them up, what is your top 3 Russo brother films for both of you guys?
Okay. I'm gonna hit my number 1 last because I know definitely what it is. The Russo brothers going from 3 down. Okay. Endgame, Civil War, and number 1 to me, the gold standard will always, always, always be Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have to agree.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier, like, when I watched that, I was like, wow, how does, like, they rooted it in reality. They made it like this espionage film. It's got Robert Redford in it, who legitimizes the hell out of any film he's in. And immediately I thought, like, wow, how does somebody like Captain America now filter back into a team that has, you know, Thor and Doctor Strange? That's how real it felt, you know?
Right. And not only that, it's like you're hiding. You're more. Captain America is known for standing up for us, right, and everything. And America will stand with him. This time, America wasn't standing with him at this moment because it was him trying to prove that his friend didn't do what they think he did.
Right, and it was the first time where, like, Captain America comes from this, like, you know, greatest generation of everything's very black and white.
Right.
And for the first time, he's dealing with those shades of gray and questioning the authority that he serves, because there's a lot of questions to be asked. Neutralizing threats before they happen, it's a little crazy.
And as far as Endgame, I think Endgame would have been number 1 on your list if they didn't draw out the end, and if like I think there's certain things that they drew out that if they shortened that up, it would have been tighter. You know. But they tried to build such an emotional thing. Even though I guess if you're a fan, it would have been anyway, because people dreamed of this film becoming a reality.
I could definitely see both sides of the coin there.
Yeah.
I think they gave it like, I get what you're saying. They gave it like that Lord of the Rings ending, where it ended, and then like, let's see what happened after the end, and then after that, and tie up everybody's loose ends.
Right. Which would have been fine, shorter.
Yeah, tighter, definitely.
Right.
But again, with that film, satisfied till the day I die, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and it ended on such a great note. I think they gave Tony Stark the ending
He deserved.
he deserved, and like, you know, he started as the selfish one who wouldn't like lay down for other people, and he died. He gave his life for others, and Captain America got his second chance because he's already sacrificed himself.
Right.
So he got to live out his life.
Right.
And I like that.
Was
But yeah, could it have been tighter? Yeah, sure.
Right.
But you know.
How do you feel about Black Widow?
I can't wait to see it, but I think it's a couple of years too late.
Mm-hmm.
There was a film that came out a couple of years ago with, God, who's the girl who was in XMen? She played Mystique.
Start with an R.
Yeah, she was Hunger Games. What's her name? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on her. But there was a film she was in a couple of years ago called Red Sparrow.
Oh, yeah.
Which is basically the Black Widow story, and I felt like it was such a missed opportunity that Marvel didn't jump on it earlier. But yeah, I think it's great to have, to explore that mythos and the other side of her, her.
Now, do you think she died too soon? In Endgame?
No.
You think
No,
it was perfect?
I don't think they gave her just due before she died. Capitalize on the IP, the properties, while they're there. But if there's anybody I think can make sense out of that and keep it relevant, it's Marvel. I think DC tries their best and they just fail miserably at it, unfortunately.
Right. Because they're playing with time.
Yeah.
Because this film takes place before that happened.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
It's a prequel. So,
Yeah.
And then also because they keep going back in time and they literally could keep changing everything at this point. Almost.
Well, it's definitely, I mean, from what I know, it's not a time travel film. It's just a prequel.
Right.
So you can only go...
overall.
Oh, yes.
The overall Marvel could say, well, this didn't really happen in this universe. But it gets complicated, and from a fan perspective, stop it. Like,
Yeah.
you got to commit and keep running.
Yeah, and again, that brings me back to Star Wars Episode 9.
Right.
They should have committed to the ideas they already laid out in Episode 8, good, bad, or indifferent. That's the film that we made. Don't try to undo that. Move forward from there instead of trying to fix it.
Right.
You could, it's like putting a screen door on a submarine. It's like you can't plug up those holes. You know?
So tell everybody about how they can check out your show.
Oh, all right. Well, what a time to be alive. It's out. It's a weekly podcast and available on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, wherever podcasts can be found. The last episode I dropped was my 10th episode. I've only got 10 episodes in the can, but as you know, it's a lot of work, and it's a labor of love.
Now, what kind of topics do you cover?
Oh, everything. So, for instance, my last episode was covering the Rise of Skywalker and the prequel trilogy, how it relates to the prequel trilogy as a whole. I did an episode that focused on the Saturday morning lineup of 1980, back when cartoons used to air on like network television only.
Wow.
I do a lot of I started off doing topical stuff like fresh news, but the problem with that is it's only as fresh as how quickly you release it. And as you know, a certain amount of work has to go into getting a podcast out. Sometimes by the time you get it out, that news isn't so fresh anymore.
Right.
So I moved in a more thematic direction with my podcasts.
Right.
So I did I did a holiday countdown of like the best top 10 holiday geek films. I interview comedians. I have guests like comedians and other comic luminaries on, and sometimes I cover some of the things that are out there on the comic book racks that are that are relevant.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So definitely support. Thank you so much. Again, say your name and your website.
Lou Acosta, What a Time to Be Alive. I'm on Instagram at Watpa Show. That's the acronym for What a Time to Be Alive. So that's at WATTBA on Instagram, and I'm also on Twitter at Watpa Show. Mm-hmm. And go to the What a Time to Be Alive Facebook page where I actually just put up tons of nonsense. I always keep it pretty shallow and safe for my crew, for the Watpa Nation. And please leave a review of my show so that my mom's not the only one who's up there.
And my name is Davion Bussy. You can reach me on social media, Instagram, with my name, DAYVEONNE, Bussy, BUSSEY. And I guess I'm going to pass it to Michael.
All righty. So this is Michael7, Michael on Instagram. That's the number 7 in between.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me on.
awesome.
It was great.
You're watching Geekcast. We're here live. We're here live at Fanfaire NYC.